Good morning, everyone. Dumelang, Molweni, Absheni, Huyemore, Sanbonani. I hope I'm not leaving anyone out. If you will just see where you fit in. But all in all, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Women's Day celebration in the Women Month as we commemorate the Women's Month, which is August. Colleagues, let me not waste time. The time is exactly 10 o'clock, so we are about to start our program. And before we go into the business of the day, I would like to call on Dr. Pitswane, who is the head of counseling in Gauteng region, to come and welcome us and just give us the purpose of the day.
It is indeed a very good day, and we are so privileged to be having very good speakers today who will be sharing their experiences with us. But let me start by saying good morning to the ladies, the Mbogodos of our days. Our heartfelt welcome to our students, the counseling team who made this possible, and of course, our esteemed speakers, Ms. Tembi, Ms. Mpone, and Ms. Johanna, for availing themselves to share their experiences, their journeys with us, with the purpose, of course, of encouraging all of us to be better versions of ourselves, irrespective of the challenges that we may or may not have faced. We have got women that really are going to inspire us, motivate us, and elevate us to be better versions of ourselves. Today we celebrate Women's Day. It's a special day for us as Gauteng region, of course, the counseling unit. And as we celebrate these women, we know that they are going to influence us in a better way. And so that we can shape the society that we find ourselves in. The purpose of today further is to bring together women that will allow us to drink from their cups. They have taken their time to tell us about their stories and relay experiences that will help build back better to improve resilience. The engagement in the space will help cultivate resilience for your journey as women so that we should be able to bounce back and become better and go up to higher heights. Just as Michelle Obama has said, there is no limit to what we are. As women, we can accomplish anything we put our hands on or our eyes on. I do believe that and trust that after the talks and engagement we will have today, as women, we will definitely emulate what Michelle Obama says, that we can accomplish anything and everything. And on that note, back to the program director, thank you very much. Let us engage and enjoy our day as women and embrace this last days of the month of August. But it doesn't mean that we are only celebrating it in August. Throughout the year, let's celebrate ourselves as women because we are powerful. We are better versions of any living species. Thank you, Gloria. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Pitswane. Now that we are all welcomed, and this is a special day that we are celebrating. We're celebrating women. So I'm going to request our team on the background to open the video cameras of all our attendees and open all the mics. This is our day. We are here to celebrate. As much as it's a Teams meeting, we're not going to limit ourselves that it is a meeting on a virtual space. We are going to celebrate. We are going to enjoy this day. Those ones whose videos are already switched on, can we just please switch on all our videos today? Can we just all switch on our videos? Can we just Lilizela, Juliet, Didier, this is Women's Day. Can we just all switch on our videos? Women, we don't know how to annulate. How? They must forgive us. But we are going to celebrate this day. Can we all just open our videos? Can I ask one of you just to give us two seconds? We just go in song of Igama laMakhosikazi Alibongwe. Can one of us just lead us in that song before we welcome our first speaker?
Igama laMakhosikazi Alibongwe. Igama laMakhosikazi Alibongwe.
Can we unmute our mics, colleagues? Colleagues, I am so disappointed. Women, we cannot do this. Our mics are muted. We are singing with our mics muted. Are we not happy to be women on this day, on this month, in this era, in this generation, Mara? No, we can do better. I'm gonna give you another 1 minute for us to sing this song. Can we all just unmute? Can we just celebrate this day? Can we celebrate this month? Can we celebrate just being women? I'm going to ask Dr. Pitone to lead us again in that song. If you don't know how to sing it, just hum, but make sure your mic is open.
They can even sing in baritone.
Please lead us, Dr. P.
Igama laMakhosikazi Alibongwe. Igama laMakhosikazi Alibongwe.
Thank you. Now we are ready to hear what the day is all about. Dr. Pitone has already mentioned we have great speakers. We have great women who are coming here to encourage us and to talk to us. So I'm saying to all of us, let our minds and our hearts be open to receive and to learn. So without any waste of time, colleagues, I'm going to call on our first speaker, Mme Johanna. I'm not sure if Mme Johanna is here already. All right, I see Mme Johanna is here. Before Mme Johanna can speak, I have a little bio here for Mme Johanna that I would like to read. So Mme Johanna is a NLP coach and lecturer who is passionate about mentorship and women development, especially in the realm of education and training. She is a founder of House of Hope Ministry, an organization dedicated to providing support and assistance to individuals in need. She's a certified NLP life coach from the Coaching Institute in the UK, specializing in neuro-linguistic programming techniques. She's a certified chaplain recognized by the Board Association of Chaplains in South Africa. With over 25 years in higher education, she has worked as a lecturer and contributed to student development and support within different higher learning institutions. Her expertise include student academic counseling, offering guidance and assistance to students in their academic pursuit. She managed peer help program at UNISA, also managed the academic peer mentor program at Northwest University. She also lectured criminology at UNISA and lectured ECD at Northwest University, and currently a senior lecturer at West Call TVET College. Her qualifications include a certificate in NLP, Life Coaching Institute UK, which she obtained in 2016, a Bachelor of Education Honours, Education in University of South Africa. She obtained it in 2015. In 2000, she obtained a higher education diploma with the University of South Africa also. And then she also has a Bachelor of Arts in Education Criminology, which she obtained in 1995 through the University of South Africa. She also has an Adult Basic Education and Training certificate, which she obtained in 1997 at the University of South Africa. Ms. Johanna, if you are ready, the virtual space is yours, Mme.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and I greet you all. And thank you so much for the song that was heartwarming. This is the topic that I want to talk about, the roots of resilience. Imagine a big tree standing proudly next to you. Imagine a big tree standing proudly in the midst of the forest. This tree that has faced a lot of unpredicted forces. Growing this tree, weathering storms, going through various seasons and challenges and opportunities. Yet this tree scars grew and emerges all the time. The tree journey is a testament to the concept of resilience. My name is Johanna Ralekgogo. I'm here to share my life journey, a journey filled with challenges, setbacks, successes that have shaped me into a person I am today. I hope and pray that my story will inspire every one of you, especially women who have attended, and you will embrace it as it will strengthen you, no matter the obstacles that you are faced. I was born in the late 60s, in the heart of Soweto. My parents were pensioners when I was born. My father was 70 years and my mom was 50 years. I was blessed with a happy, large, supportive family. My siblings became my deputy parents, offering foundation of support to my parents. My brothers and sisters played a significant role. That made an interesting and a dynamic life for me. And I was a happy child because that was the only life I knew. When I was 9 years, my legs started swelling. I was in pain. I thought I would be okay, but no, it went on and on until I was taken to hospital. I was surrounded by many doctors doing different tests, trying to find out what is the problem. I was developing an additional bone. It took them 2 years to finally diagnose me with a bone tumor called endocarcinoma. I went through surgery to remove the tumor. After some time, it returned. And I removed it again. They removed it again. And I was very happy when the physiotherapists finally cleared me. I was discharged. I went back home. And my primary schooling was all in hospital. But going back home, I was excited because I wanted to be so much in the playground. Soon, I was in high school. Things were going well. until 1994 to 1985. I was in grade 10. There was a student protest, Soweto student protest. I missed another 2 years. Seeing that the protests were delaying my schooling, in 1986, I begged my parents to go to Limpopo. And my parents said I should write a letter to one of my relatives to request them to find me a school. Indeed, I got admitted in a rural area. And now I faced another challenge. This challenge was originally from where I was studying. I was doing commercial subject. Now in the rural areas, there was nothing like that. So I was forced to take the general subject. Our general subject are subjects like your history, geography, your biblical studies, and the biology. Because of the fear of failing, I had to go back to the previous grade so that I can get a foundation of this subject because I was a maths person. And at matric, I went to my principal and asked him if I could register an extra subject. Permission was granted, and guess what? I recruited other 5 classmates. So we continue to buy the Sunday City Press newspaper in order for us to get the tips on how to start the subject. I was just corresponding that subject alone. I passed my matric, including this extra subject. Then I was ready to go to university. My uncle was so excited and funded me for my tertiary. I'm sorry. Initially, I wanted to do BCom degree, but I was told that I do not qualify due to subject choices that I had in matric. So I ended up registering for BAdmin at the University of the North. I was not ready for what I found at the university. The environment was overwhelming. I remember getting lost many times. I couldn't easily find my classes. I didn't understand the timetable. I didn't understand the A rules. I didn't understand modules. So it took me 2 months to settle in. By the time I got settled, I was already late to catch up. I was already late even to do my assignment. Anyway, I never qualified to write, so I failed. And lo and behold, my uncle was very upset with me for wasting his money and his sister's money. And I was taken back home. After a year, I begged my father to give me another chance to further my studies. And then my brothers advised me to register with UNISA. And UNISA being a strictly correspondence institution, my father was convinced that I will be home every day. I registered for Bachelor of Arts. By then, we never had career guidance. Administrators just observed your highest qualification, your highest passed subject in matric, and that determined your major subject. Being a UNISA student was not easy. It was very lonely. It was isolated because there were no support from university. We had NGOs like Sachet Trust that played an important role in providing tuition and support for us. Then later, UNISA started establishing learning centers where students can come, access the library, study, submit assignments, and conduct group studies. The Johannesburg Learning Center was based at Tony Factor Building. I quite remember it was in Conarisic and President Street. Being at the center for me was a space of support. It was a space where I could find support. It was a space where it was so vibrant. As students, we had different activities. We were so violent. We had a lot of political activities that were happening. Friendships were developed. Relationships were developed. Imagine everything was happening. And right there, I fell in love with the best person that I loved. And we were both students. I felt pregnant. And I didn't stop attending Learning Center because actually that was our meeting space with my boyfriend. One of the good days, as we were studying at the Learning Center, suddenly there was a big explosion in the building, and there was a bomb that exploded inside. All of a sudden, I saw a lot of water coming on us, the whole ceiling and stuff like that. So I was injured there. Unfortunately, due to injuries, I lost my baby. It was not good. I remember it was towards the exam. In grief and in pain, I took courage to go and write my exams. I completed my qualification, which was Bachelor of Arts degree. I was happy. Finally, I made my parents happy. They were proud of me, especially my father. When I registered for honors degree in criminology, then I was given an opportunity to work at UNISA main campus as a lecturer. The nature of UNISA, as you know, was strictly correspondence, no contact session with student. So what we used to do, we used to mark student script. But my senior gave me 5 scripts to mark for the whole month. You can just imagine something that you can do in 2 hours. Then they expect you to do it in 5 days. I was not happy. I was not challenged. I remember how I used to play solitaire on the computer for the rest of the hours. And then later I discovered that actually we were appointed because of affirmative action. The university had to comply with this rule. The truth is, we were just used for window dressing. I terminated my contract because I lacked fulfillment. Few months later, I looked at a chance and applied for student counseling job. I was employed by Bureau of Student Counseling and Career Development, and I was based in Johannesburg Learning Center. My job was fulfilling because I was interacting with a lot of students. I was in the front line. I handled all the student queries, information, and I was responsible for training peer helpers. I coordinated their outreach, career guidance, and there was never a dull moment. At times, I will manage the office alone. And then in my private life, I got married. I was blessed with 2 children, 2 sons, and my husband supported me. And he was my hope, the pillar of my life. And that made things easy for me. I could easily balance work, family, and children. And by then, I registered for HED, which is a higher education diploma. Then one Sunday during September holidays, I remember it was Heritage Week. My brother went to my eldest sister and he took along my eldest son. As they were traveling back from Limpopo for a long weekend, unfortunately, they were involved in a car accident. And my brother passed on, my son and my nephew. The relationship that I had with my brother was so close. It was like my father. I was heartbroken. I lost words on how much I have got broken. And I thank God for the church that continued to support me and eased my pain. 6 months later, after the tragic death of my brother, the world became worse. Then I lost my father. For that moment, everything got shattered to an extent that I had to pause my academic support. My husband was there to support me. My mother was still there. My other siblings were still there, but I was heartbroken. Anyway, for a moment, I gave birth to a daughter who brought joy again in the family. She was a center of attraction. As we were trying to pick up the pieces to move on, suddenly my husband got sick. I thought, it's a small thing, he will come on. And things got worse. And he passed on also. That was the pain that I could not describe. And all that I was asking was, why me, Lord? I never wanted to lose him. I never wanted to lose another family member. I was tired of seeing a lot of coffins that are coming out of my family. Remember, it was only 6 months apart after I've just buried my father. I asked myself why? Because I was at the peak of my marriage. I was just starting to enjoy marriage. My husband left my son at 3, and also my daughter was just 8 months. I witnessed everything disappearing. I witnessed things being disappearing. I witnessed how I lost properties, how I lost a relationship with my in-laws. And the process of grief started to take toll on me. I started not performing well at work. I remember how I used to be late. I remember how I used to not take care of myself. I started gaining a lot of weight. Fortunately, I had a very supportive manager, Ms. Pam Nielsen, who sat down with me. And during the consultation, she offered to refer me for counseling, where I found support. I found support in counseling. One day, as I was at UNISA, there was no fulfillment anymore. I decided to say, I'm going to resign. I resigned at UNISA. I think after 10 years, now I was picking up, and then I met another man and we got married. And I thought things will move my way and enjoy marriage again. By then, he was staying at Northwest. I was in Gauteng. I thought I will manage as I have managed my distance learning, but our relationship and marriage couldn't work. So he divorced me. And I got another job after the divorce. I was working at Northwest University, and from North University, I resigned because now, remember, I was going there for marriage. I had to come back home in Gauteng. And I started now looking for another job. I went now and applied for a position as a lecturer. And my spiritual life started becoming, it started becoming a major thing that happened in my life. I started looking at life in a different way. I had to redefine my goals. I had to redefine who am I? Why am I going? What are the things that I'm looking at? I started nurturing, I started to share the wisdom that I had with others. The organization that I have started, I started to mentor other young girls, whether spiritually, especially in career development. I started being there. I started being the pillars, finding the sense of purpose again. In conclusion, standing up and moving on, it's like a tree weathering a storm and then reaching towards the sunlight. Just as a tree doesn't let the harsh winds break in spirit, it stands tall and continue to grow, eventually reaching for a nourished ray of the sun. Similarly, we are faded with challenges in life. We are faded with a lot of setback. But what we need to do, we need to stand up and move on. Even now, I'm still moving on. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Indeed, Major Hannah's story is a story of determination, of hard work, of purpose, and of courage, that in the midst of still rise. This reminds me of Maya Angelou's poem of I rise, that amongst everything that I go through, I will still rise. Like dust, I will rise. So if we have any questions, any comments, Major Hannah is still here, and you can just ask your questions or any comment from the story that Major Hannah has shared with us regarding her life, her journey. Maybe you can relate, or maybe you just also going through some things and you just need help. We are here. Remember what she said, that she was able to overcome some of the challenges that she went through support. So we are here to support each other.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Joanna, as well, for sharing that. I can imagine it's not an easy thing to talk about, perhaps sometimes, since it would bring back memories. However, this is just a comment. I don't necessarily want to ask anything that instills so much hope. I am one person who's going through so many things that I won't mention in this platform. But I needed that at this very moment, and it's good to know you are somehow not alone, or someone is going through something and they rised up. Like she said, that it reminds her of a poem. Yeah, Maya Angelou is one of my favorites. It's one of my go-to at times like this. I always say, like a phoenix, I rise. There's so many things that we go through and have to still wear a facade outside because work is still waiting for you, school is still waiting for you. However, you must push in the midst of all the storms. So I've been swimming in the storm, and I needed someone who said, you can swim and actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you, and big ups to you for holding on to what you held on to. Could have been faith, could have been any other coping mechanisms that you used, but for me, this is really a story of hope, and I hope someday I'll also be able to tell that I swimmed and I drowned at some points, but here I am, here I stand. Thank you also touching on seeking for purpose. It's a very important thing that gets us all depressed, it gets us all weary, it gets us all lonely. So I'm glad that you actually touched on the fact that when we are not fulfilled it becomes heavier to face life. And I'm glad you found that which you loved. You found that working with students actually does help. I've also found that when I do something that is of help, it gives me purpose. It gives me hope that I might be going through what I'm going through, but I can still put a smile on somebody else's face, which in turn, in the long run, puts a smile on mine. So yeah, I'll end it here. Otherwise, I could go on the whole day. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wow, thank you so much, Anza. Yes, it is true. I hold it on faith. I hold it on prayer. This is what I will say to you. There's nothing that doesn't pass. It is a season and it shall pass. You shall arise again. So I say to you, arise.
Thank you, Ms. Johanna. Ms. Johanna, there's a lot of love, hugs from the chat box, and there is a question I'm going to take from the chat. A question is from Mahozo Msibi. She's saying, how did you deal with losing your second miscarriage?
The loss that I had, the first one, remember, it was not a miscarriage. I was involved in an accident in that bomb, in that explosion at Tony Factor. So then the incident, I had to go into labor, due to that incident. So the baby was not fully matured. She was, I think, 8 months. Yes. So it was not good. So actually, Ananza was talking something that I had to revisit what I went through again.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johanna. So our next speaker is going to talk on the topic of a personality unidentified. So we have Ms. Thembi Khumalo, who is going to speak to us today. So I know her for a very long time. She is Umkhaya Wami. So we went to the same high school, but I knew her as Uthembi Mnyageni. So without wasting any time, let me just read Thembi's bio a little bit. Thembi, you're welcome. So Thembi is an explorer, an adventurist, and a leader in corporate South Africa. She may wear many hats, but the one that matters to her the most are that of a daughter, a sister, an aunt, and a friend. Her adventurous spirit has seen her jumping off planes, towers, and bridges. She loves the adrenaline rush as it allows her to test the body and the mind. She has summited Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa, Mount Karisimbi, the highest in Rwanda, Mount Rwenzori. I'm sorry if I'm not saying it correctly. Thembi will correct us there. It is the highest in Uganda, and Mafadi Drakensberg, which is the highest in South Africa, and Mount Catherine in Egypt. In terms of the 7 summits, she has summited the Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Elbrus, the highest in Europe. In 2016, she attempted Aconcagua, the highest peak in South America. She has trekked to Everest Base Camp and Island Peak, one of the lowest peaks in the Everest mountain region. Her mountaineering experience has opened her mind to the idea of leadership in physically challenging and mentally impossible situations, application of leadership principles in challenging times. She has an interest in transformational leadership academically and in practice. This led her to invest in her education and personal development. She is committed to continuous learning and development through informal engagements with field experts on the job and formal training. She holds an MBA with GIBS and is a leader in corporate South Africa. Her personal interests, among others, include mountaineering, hiking, running, cycling, and swimming. She is that person who gets into a new sport every so often just to keep her mind engaged and the body challenged. She has traveled the African continent, 33 countries to be precise, either solo or in a group or for work or for personal interest. Goodness, Miss Thembi, your bio, it's so packed. She is proud to say Africa is her home and has a big family in the continent. Each day she strives to be unidentified and inspire others to do the same. She believes there is much to be achieved as a team or individuals if we allow people to be themselves and bring to the table the best version of themselves. She tries to do that every day. Her motto in life is a clean canvas, and each day is an opportunity to repaint your own story. Ms. Khumalo, you're welcome. The virtual space is yours.
Good day, everyone. I just thought, let me put my camera on for a few seconds. If it interrupts the bandwidth, I will definitely put it off. But it's always, easier if we see my face and we can interact virtually. It's a challenge, right? So it'd be nice if we're in the same room. So as Gloria mentioned, my talk for today is going to be about a personality undefined. Undefined because, as you read in my bio, we are made up of different interests, and we wear many hats, and as alluded in my bio, I mean, the best that I can think of myself outside of my interests, outside of my achievements, is closer to home, which is family oriented. I'm a daughter, the eldest at home. I'm a sister to 4 siblings. I'm an aunt to 3 young ones, and a friend to many. So these are people that I have decided along my life's journey to bring closer to me, and they've become family. But as we go into the discussion, you'll just realize that even for yourself, when when I speak through my journey, you realize there's more to you than just being a mother. There's more to you than being a student. There's more to you than being an employee number at UNISA, an employee number at whichever corporate way where you hold a position. So this is just to say, bring your best foot forward, bring your whole self. And I think, post-COVID and during COVID, we've realized that bringing your best in terms of your personality, your emotions, and your feeling actually make you a better member of society. You can also empathize with other people, in their journey, because you've also been given a space to be yourself. So as we can continue, who am I? I've alluded to, the most important hats that I hold. But I am a head in a corporate, an international bank. Currently, I hold the position of head of global markets operations, a senior role in an international bank. Prior to that, my career spans from internal audit into risk management, into compliance. In my life's journey, which is about 20 odd years, even prior to that, when I was still doing my undergrad, I realized that I had an interest in many things. And now that I'm older, I am 42 years, I turned 42 in July, I actually have an appreciation of who I am fully, right? Because generally when we go through our formative years in terms of education and choosing your career, you're given one line, right? As Joanna mentioned, you're good in maths and you'll follow a certain direction. I was good in accounting, so I followed the accounting route in terms of my undergrad. But when I got to varsity, I realized that the world is many other career options. I got into marketing, so I hold a major in marketing, I hold a major in accounting, I hold a major in internal audit, and I sub-majored in a few others. So now that I'm old, as I said, I've now come to an appreciation of my personality in terms of I have diverse interests. So those diverse interests I need to be given a space in terms of life and how I show up on a daily basis. So, and in my career, I was in consulting in one of the big audit firms. I ended up getting into financial services. I spent a bit of time in the Blue Bank, which is, you know, the biggest on the continent in terms of assets. This is Standard Bank, Stanbic on the continent. And then of recent, I'm with an international bank, which is headquartered in London, England. So this already paints a picture of there's a lot to me, right? And I'm certain it resonates with you as well, that there's a lot to you, and how you show up, as I said, is also dependent in the appreciation of your identity. One other identity that is very critical and important to me is that I am African and I am woman. If there's an opportunity to come back in this life again, I'll definitely put my name up to be African. I'll definitely put myself up to be a female, being a woman, because in that it has allowed me to be both the nurturing, which is what's associated with being female, but it also gives us an opportunity to, you know, to move into the, you know, leadership, because now it's important to have those nurturing type of capabilities in leadership, right? It's been important before is in terms of academic study, but with COVID as a crisis, it's now like lead with the heart. And who is better positioned, because, you know, we've been socialized to be heart people than a female. You know, so as the world evolves, you realize that we as females are actually in a good position to bring about the change that is required in society, you know, from a nurturing point of view, in corporate, from an understanding and leading with the heart point of view. And being African, and as I continue with my talk, you'll realize how Africa has actually shaped my identity, and my travels on the continent has actually made me appreciate, you know, the core values of being African, which I think from, you know, the Western world, you know, they miss at times. So we have to bring it and, you know, fully express that part of us, which is important. Cool. So in terms of my life's journey, as I said, at the back of my mind, there's always been a quest for a richer life. I think if I had to go back to when we're in high school, Gloria, and thinking, would I have landed where I am right now, I probably would have said, nah, I hadn't. I really, that was not my outlook, right? It was get through school, you know. Get a career, get married, have kids, and the likes, right? But somehow at the back of my mind, there's always been a quest for a richer life. As I mentioned to you, in adversity, my world opened up. I went to university, and I realized that, oh shucks, there's a more out there in the world, and I need to explore and get into the action, right? I'm a Christian. So one of the verses that I live by, you know, is the one that is found in John 10:10, where it says, where Christ said, I have come that they may have life and that they might have it more abundantly. So this is it. There's a promise of an abundant life. So in my head, I said, Tembi, are you living an abundant life, right? And I realized when I turned 35, after my master's at Gibbs, my MBA at Gibbs, that there's a lot more of myself as an adult that I had not explored. So I went on this quest for a richer life, right? And another quote says, doing what you love is the cornerstone of having abundance in your life. So there's also an appreciation of do what you love, and that will give you the fulfillment. You know, you never have to work a day in your life if you do what you love. There's a saying that goes to that effect. but also it's just that fulfillment of having abundance in your life. And Maya Angelou then says, success is living life and daring to live it. Now that's a challenge, right? Success is defined in many ways. It can be material, it can be also emotional, want to get married, have kids, settle down. So everybody defines it differently. But this kind of puts everything together to say, if you love life and you dare to live it, whichever focus that you may have in terms of what success is, that will be a success for you, and it will be a successful life in terms of your own criteria. So that was me. I had this quest for a richer life. Academically, I think I'd done very well, and then I also had a stint at UNISA doing a program in risk management. I had a few, that qualification. I had my undergrad, and I now had a master's. But then there was more, right? There was more that I needed, which was a quest for a richer life. So moving on from Maya Angelou's quotation, I dared to live, and I can't remember the year this was, but I went skydiving for the first time in Parys. I think there's a skydiving facility there, and if there's a picture that depicts freedom for me, it is actually this one. So at that point in time, I was like, this is it. I need to live. If I survive this, I can do much more in terms of my life. So I'm going to be sharing a few of the pictures just to bring the point home in terms of my life's journey and what I'm all about, and the personality that's undefined, and this the color of that personality seeks to bring in this life. I hope I'm going to have a long life. I will not be falling off from, or injuries in any of my activities, because I trust God will keep me. But whilst I'm still alive, I'm going to dare to live. So one of the things that I had to start thinking about was my health and my wellness. Right, it's important, and for me it was the basics where I needed to start. Right, I was diagnosed with a chronic condition, wasn't really life-threatening, but it had a bit of an impact in terms of my life and how how I lived my life. I have an underactive thyroid, which basically, if my thyroid functioning is not well managed, my metabolism slows down, and the shutting down of body organs then starts. But be that as it may, I am on chronic medication there, so there's no such issues, right? Daring to live. So even with that chronic condition, I decided I needed to take care of my health. And one of the things is, because of that condition, I'd gained a bit of weight. Well, it's not a bit, quite a lot of weight. But I made that choice to say health is important. Start doing something to change your health, both from a physical confidence point of view, but that is not the main driver. The main driver was just to make sure that I am well and healthy, and as I dare to live, there's life, right, from a health point of view. So it's just to extend the living part, so health and wellness. So I went on a health regime, which 13 years later, it has been 13 years, I'm still maintaining it. So I have vowed not to go back to the picture that you are seeing, the before picture. As I said, my interests are many. I run, and disclaimer, this year has been tough from a work point of view, so I haven't been that good at it. But give or take, I do go to gym. I do use a skipping rope on my balcony, so I can do 40 hours of skipping. I cycle. At this present moment, I spend most of my time at the gyms, doing the stationary bike. Because of my stress levels, which are a bit on a high these days, my stress is a bit on a high. I've also taken on kickboxing, with my trainer. So I find punching things and kicking things does help to alleviate a bit of the daily stress. So those are the things that I get up to in terms of my health and wellness. Of course, I try and eat clean as best as I can without, without being too much on a fixed regimen. I still need to enjoy life. So I still have my ice cream, I still have my cake, but it's within a control setting. And I mean, we can take a bit more on that for those who are interested to understand what I get up to try and keep my health and wellness in check. As mentioned, I've traveled to 33 countries in Africa, but I've also traveled to other continents. One of the most richest experience that I have, or one of the richest experiences that I've had, is actually leaving South African borders, right? And that picture between the pillars, that's Egypt. I got to see the Valley of the Tombs, where the old kings are buried. So as I mentioned, the richest experiences that I've had is actually stepping out of my comfort zone outside of my South African borders and stepping into the continent. I visited Egypt as part of climbing mountains. As I mentioned, I went to climb one of the highest peaks there on the Mount Sinai range. We then got to explore a bit of the country. The middle picture is actually in South Africa, but it's just one of those interesting pictures, I think, that I've taken. I think it's somewhere in town, in GP's town, where we were exploring with my friends a while back. The other picture speaks to, this is Ethiopia. So if you have an opportunity, there's a country, if you ever get an opportunity that you need to visit, it's Ethiopia, both from a cultural, but also from a spiritual point of view. So we had gone to celebrate Christmas with them, which does not happen at the same time as our Christmas. It happens, I think, a week into January, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a whole pilgrimage around that, which then, if you get to and they're quite welcoming, of visitors. So they will allow you into the various church or the various sites where they celebrate their Christmas. It's just one of those experiences that makes you appreciate being an African and appreciate the journey of each of the countries. So if you know the story of Ethiopia, they were never formally colonized. Although there was Italy did try. I think they were there for about 5 years, an occupation by Italy, but it was one of the countries that were never formally colonized. So that speaks to an Africa that stood up for itself, a continent. A country in the continent that stood up for themselves and never had, the colonization as part of their history. It's and the story of their their kings. They are 7 years behind us, if I'm not mistaken. So they are on a different time scale, and it's a beautiful story. If you have an opportunity to visit, please do. The other part is the mountaineering. So as I said, at 35, so few months before my 35th birthday, I decided I wanted to climb Kili, and in that year, so this was 2016, if I'm not mistaken, I bumped into guys who were training to go in July of that year, and I knew some of them from social media, so we had a conversation about, can I join you guys? They said yes, and that's where my love for mountaineering started. So 2 days shy of my 35th birthday, I stood on top of Africa, on the rooftop of Africa at Mount Kilimanjaro, and I've never looked back since. I mean, Gloria mentioned some of the peaks that I've scaled, and it's one of those opportunities that gives you a time out from the real world, because half the time although there's connectivity, of recent I've decided that I will not buy a local SIM, from a connectivity point of view. If anything happens, my family will know at some point, but I try so that there is a total disconnect from social media, and I spend time with self and the mountain. So the most recent one, this was last year, October into November, I went to Everest. I managed to scale one of the lower peaks, which is Island Peak on the region. We got to Everest Base Camp, got to see the majestic, Himalaya, Everest range, even Everest as in Everest. We could point it out from where we were when we were journeying through the region. So it's a story where I suppose from my perspective is a story where, as I said, I'm allowing my best self to be given. It's a gift to myself, but it's also a gift to the world. So I'm able to share these stories, and I'm able to inspire people because I have given myself this particular gift, the gift of having a personality undefined, a gift where I do various things for self and for the inspiration of others. I mean, I can talk about leadership lessons from mountaineering, but that is a story for another day. The best lesson that I think out of this is the one way from my motto: life is a clean canvas, and each day is an opportunity to repaint your own story. So the 42 years that I've lived, there's been different experiences. There's been divorces. There's been death in the family. That's life. That's life. And Joanna spoke beautifully about those low moments. But there's also the high moments, the achievements from getting your degree through difficult circumstances, getting married, holding your first child, getting that job that you've prayed for and you've studied for. But once you are there and you have this beautiful blessing, it's also about how do we then tell your story? How do you then make your life richer through repainting? If there's mistakes, we repaint, we continue, right? But if you're lucky enough to get it right the first time, that is you painting your own story on a clean canvas. So I hope my short presentation is able to inspire you to bring your best foot forward in terms of your life's journey and your interests and what you seek to gift to the world in terms of who you are and the personality that God has given you. So thank you so much. I suppose we can open up for questions.
Thank you so much, Austembi. Indeed, we cannot be put in a box. There is a quote here by an unknown person who says, "Some of the wonderful people are the ones who do not fit in a box, or the ones that you cannot fit in a box." Personality undefined. Austembi has shared her story with us. This is to motivate. I was just thinking as she's speaking that, you know what, we are moving away from the notion of saying women belong in the kitchen, and we moved and we went to the boardrooms, and now we are moving from the boardrooms to the mountains. So let's give Austembi some love, and if there's any questions, please just raise your hand so that we can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. I'm seeing there's a hand, Austembi. Before you go, we know that you have other engagements, and we really appreciate you being able to join us today. Let me just take a few hands before you leave, Austembi.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I just wanted to congratulate you. I wanted to clap hands, but it raised the hand. Thank you, Gloria and Austembi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If there's any suggestions or anything, you can just write it on the chat. Tembi will just check it later on. I'm going to request that we release her because she's got other engagements after this one. But Austembi, we really appreciate you, and thank you for always availing yourself. Anytime we say, Tembi, please, we need you. You are always available for us. We really appreciate you, and we are excited for your next. You said you're not going to die soon, so we are excited to see what you are going to do in the next 40, 50 years. Thank you so much. We are inspired. Some of us, we might not be able to climb mountains, but yeah, we'll climb the mountains of life. Not literal mountains, but thank you so much, Thembi, and congratulations and all the best in everything that you are doing. All right, our next speaker is going to focus or talk to us on a topic of resilience. Her fight, her story, but I'm just going to say it in quote is resilience, my fight, my story. And we have Ausi Mponi Moeketsi. So Mponi Moeketsi is a human resource and training consultant, a brain profile practitioner, a certified business advisor, and a life coach with a number of years as an educator, training and development practitioner. She does the above for both the private and the public sector. She has previous experience across industries, including mining, government, financial services, hospitality, and education. She is instrumental in developing and facilitating leadership programs, entrepreneurial programs, career programs, as management and strategic planning workshops. Ms. Moeketsi is 100% owner and managing principal of Journey to Destiny and Kavan Consultants. Kavan Consultants is a fully accredited training provider with Service SETA, Mix SETA, and Agri SETA. Her company's list of clients includes, but not limited to, Anglo Platinum, Sasol, and Alexandra Forbes, Wera and Minerals, KSB, and Crabtree. Apologies there if I did not pronounce them correctly. Her community social responsibility include sponsorship to students who have passed matric, youth camps, entrepreneur development, and ex-convicts, unemployed youth, and school leavers. This includes women empowerment and transforming lives. She holds a BA Social Science, BA Honors Psychology graduate, postgraduate diploma in trauma counseling, coursework Masters in Public Health Law from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. She has recently completed a course program in Principles of Business Management and People Management at the Handley Business School. She's qualified as an NLP practitioner and a life coach with NLP Institute Action Factory. She is currently a board member of the Boksburg Child Welfare and serves as a deputy chairperson. She is also a trustee for the National Children's Theatre Fund. Ausi Mponi, if you are ready, the virtual space is yours, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ladies. Such a pleasure and honor to be part of this event today, and thank you so much. All right, as indicated, my name is Mponi Moeketsi. I stay in Benoni, and when I was invited to speak about my fight, my story, the first word I had to think about is my fight. And I asked myself, is it truly a fight? And kaSetswana, we say, bophelo ke ntwa, ngesiZulu bathi impilo yimpi. Now, just before I continue, I just want everyone in the chat box, how are you?
We are getting Mr. Pale saying, I am good. Ngosing Pile saying, I'm so grateful to be here. I am fine. This is from Gamogelo. There's also one from Unknown. She says, I am well and blessed to be alive.
Okay.
I'm so happy to be here and I am learning so much. These are all the comments from the comment section. Another one saying, I am stressed about my exams, yet I am well. Another one is saying, a bit lost, but I'm breathing. I'm grateful to be part of this. I am grateful to be alive. I'm still smiling. I'm in a journey of self-discovery. I am wonderful. I'm empowered to be amongst the queens. I am good and happy to be alive. I'm overwhelmed about my schoolwork and the future.
Thank you so much for the responses. Now, when people ask us how we are, our normal answer, our normal response is, I'm fine. And when we answer that, we normally do not think, because we are just used to saying, I am well. And it's very evident from some of the response, people are doing well. And sometimes we just move in by faith to say, yes, I am blessed, I'm highly favored, regardless of what we are going through. Now, before I start talking about resilience, and for some, yes, I heard somebody saying they are worried about their exams. So other people, they're saying, I'm just breathing. Before I just go through, what is the problem? How do we define? We are sitting every day with people who are saying, I have problems in my life. And the problems that may be, and if you are a student, it can be sometimes you are unable to pay our own fees. And sometimes the students are unable to even connect for them to be able to send their presentations. And a problem is a difficult situation that one is unable to deal with, or sometimes we are undecided in how to move forward from it. Now, typical problems and others, you can also add some of the problems that you may have in, it cannot just general, some of the problems that people may have in an everyday life. Sometimes it's about money, and if you're a business person, it's about profit. And if you are an institution as well, like UNISA, you'll be saying, where are we going to get the money for the next few coming years? Sometimes the problems that we face about careers, and asking ourselves, am I in the right career? Am I hiring the best people who are in the right jobs? And others, as much as we can be students, is unemployment that we are looking at in our country. And sometimes it can be relationships, whether it's family, it's friends, strangers. And as staff members, it can be the workplace itself can be a problem. And some of us, we are still going through some health issues, and some of the health issues have happened because of COVID-19 and other things. Now, the question is, why is it difficult for us to solve problems? You can also answer this in the chat box. But what we have found is that sometimes we are unable to solve problems because problems, we don't know how to identify if something is a problem or it's a challenge itself. And sometimes we don't have even the methods of solving those problems. Sometimes we are not even clear if something is a problem or not. And the last one that has brought us here is being too scared to even face the problems. Now, I would like us to take a moment, and can I just also add, I'm not alone here, because I'm working with young entrepreneurs who are plumbers and electricians. They are actually part of this session as well. We have women who are plumbers and electricians who are here, yippee! So I'm here with them as well, and the gentlemen who have joined us. Now, I would like us to take some time to look at this activity, and this applies to everyone. Without lifting your pen, please, everyone, can you all draw these 9 dots? I'm going to give everyone a minute to draw the 9 dots, including people here. Then the instruction is, without lifting your pen, draw 4 lines that join the 9 blue dots, or the 9 dots. You can just draw 4 lines without lifting your pen to join the 9 dots. I'm going to give it a minute for all of us to try it. Please, thou shall not use Google or ChatGPT to solve this. Is everybody trying? Gloria, can you please just confirm if people are trying this as well on your side?
Okay. If there's anybody trying who tried it and maybe would just like to share please just raise your hand so that we can allow you to share it on the screen.
If you are unable to solve it, please, we also like to hear from you. I would like to know, what is the challenge that you were unable to connect the dots? Anyone can share.
Someone is saying, yo, it's hectic. I'm getting 5 lines.
All right.
Another
Others?
one. Another person is also saying they're getting 5 lines.
What happens when we don't solve problems? What happens when we don't solve problems? We get frustrated. The team here is saying we get frustrated, we get confused. We become depressed, we become demotivated. We give up.
Some are saying they get bitter. They get
bitter.
frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
They quit. They get angry. These are some of the comments from the chat.
Can you see the 4 straight lines, Gloria? I'm just looking at it now. We said all the dots must connect.
Yes.
And the other 2 dots are not connected.
Yeah, I don't think anybody got it.
Right, let's move on. Now, every day we face problems in our lives. And when we face these problems, we have 2 choices. We stay where we are or we move on. And for some of the choices that for most of us have made is that we stay where we are for quite a long time. And when we stay where we are for a long time, we then have bitterness, unforgiveness. We start having wounds. And when we start having wounds, we bleed even on people who did nothing to us. And in the choice that you are going to make after this is, we need to notice what are some of the things that are holding me back in my own life as a woman, that I'm unable to move forward. And because I'm unable to move forward, I'm not even making rational decisions. Now, when we speak about resilience, please, I know in this class, other people are still trying to solve the 9 dots, and I will give you the solution to this. Please don't worry. Now, what resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from a difficult situation. It's basically about bouncing back. I would like to take you through a journey of a young girl I've met years ago. This young girl was given birth to 2 lovely parents who loved her dearly. And these parents, because of lack of opportunities, they decided that they are going to sell alcohol. Now, when they sold alcohol in their house where they stayed, this young woman, this young girl was exposed to, obviously at a very young age, you can imagine 7, 6, to alcohol, to abuse, to violence, to all sorts of things that you can think of as a young woman. What do you think happened to the young woman? Please, in terms of Poppy Act, I'm allowed to share the story. I've asked for permission. What do you think happened to this young woman? Somebody says she was probably raped. Obviously, she was exposed to sexual abuse. Others, you can comment. What do you think happened to the young woman? They started drinking at a young age. On your side, Gloria, any responses?
Someone is saying, I think she was abused. Another is saying, became angry at the world.
Being angry at the world. Now, further to this, the young woman completed her high school at 16. I just need to add that. She further went to university and she completed her degrees. And that woman you are talking to is myself. The reason I'm sharing this story is because we all have our own experiences where we have been raised from different families. And I had to make a choice. It's either I'm going to stay where I am or I'm going to move out from where I am to make a better life for myself. And the only way I had to make sure that I move out and better myself was to get good education. And the good thing that happened with this, when we say resilience, it means I was able to withstand because of where I come from. I needed to fight more than anything with my brain. Because resilience has everything to do with how do you program your brain to be able to move on and to succeed and prosper in the things that which you. Now, the solution to this. Does everybody see the solution? Sometimes when we are resilient, it means you are able to think out of the box. And when we think out of the box, that's when we say, as much as the situation could have been difficult, as much as the situation is difficult, because some of us are going through things right now, but what can I do to move past that? And I need to make use of the resources that are around me. And the resources that are around me, it first starts with the people that I surround myself with. And for us as women, the women that you are surrounding yourself with. Now, when things happen in our lives, we can have stress, panic, anxiety, grief, things have happened. And for some of us during COVID, we lost people that we love dearly as well. Now, there are some brain attacks that has happened in the last few years, especially with the internet world, that has made us that challenges even our resilience. And some of them is this technology. I always say, make an example of saying, now we have God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, and God the cell phone. How do you use your cell phone and what are the things that you are looking at? Because some of the things that we are looking at from our phone, the stories that which we read from Facebook, Twitter, wherever, they're actually challenging us as women and they're challenging our brains. We have also have empathy decline. By empathy decline is we no longer care about each other. Instead, we want to see other people fail because of where we come from and our own wounds. And sometimes it's our inorganic relation. I call this inorganic relationships. These relationships, right now I'm sitting here over the laptop and I no longer have much of, I wish I can be there in the, in the platform that is there to connect with other women. Because the inorganic relationships is that we WhatsApp, we Facebook, we give each other video calls, but people need touch for them to be able to connect. Memory decline. By memory decline is our memories, I keep on declining because now our life is full of Twitter. Our life is full of ChatGPT. If I want to know any information, I just go to ChatGPT, it's going to give me the information. Poor sleeping habits also attacks us. Constantly busy doing nothing. And more we are saying is fear of missing out. Sometimes we get into people's businesses because we want to know what's happening. Can people start minding their own business? Fake intellectuals. I just go to Google and I will just download a dissertation for I spoke about social media. As women, we need to take care, and gents who are in the house, we need to take care of our brains. Create, because our brains do two things. They create memories and they keep memories. And some of the memories that we are keeping, what is the reason you are keeping some of these memories? Are they important? Because some of us, we go back and keep memory that has happened in 1990, bani bani. And in those 19, what does this memory do for you? If it enhances you, you want to be part of the history, then it's good. But if it does not bring you any good, it's time to let go. We also need to check, are we living in the past or you are living in the present? For some of us, our root, yes. You wake up, you know the first thing that you check is your cell phone. You do the same thing every single day. Our brains are created. We create a program every single day in our brains. And we just need to reprogram ourselves and say, how do I reprogram this brain? Others refuse to change because of the program that which we have formed. We know that when is the 20th of October, this and this has happened to me. When that day comes, it's just now me in my cocoon. Memorize set of behaviors, unconscious habits that we need to be aware of, our emotional reactions towards things. Some of us, we react the same way every single time when something happens. And our attitude are so hardwired that we are unable to change. What are our beliefs and perceptions? Because some of the beliefs and perceptions are actually not even true. Are your beliefs and perceptions true? We are all responsible for rewiring our brains as well as our emotions so that we build resilience. Now, here is the challenge that I would like to give to everyone. Sometimes it's okay to switch off your cell phone. It's okay when you're at work to just leave your cell phone, because this cell phone is giving us all the information, and sometimes that information is irrelevant to us. For us to be able to be more resilient, we need to surround ourselves with people who are positive. There are people who are just, when we are with them and we know them, the energy that we have, they just deplete our energy. Who are the people that you are surrounding yourself with? We need to take good care of ourselves. Self-care means I go and do the things that which I love as a woman, instead of always wanting to take care of everybody else. The growth mindset. Growth mindset is just being, for me to be able to grow in my mindset, what things that I'm doing for me to be able to grow. Set realistic goals. Some of us, we just need a detox from social media. Just a detox. I know the fasting, but just detox, even if it's 3 days. Switch off your social media. Affirm ourselves. What are the things that you are saying to yourself every single day? Be honest with how you feel, with where you are, and get people who are going to also be honest with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asimponi. The power of affirmations. What are the things that we are saying to ourselves? It is very important. If you say negative things to yourself, the results will be just that. So without any waste of time, I'm going to take hands. I see there's a lot of love for Asimponi. We thank you. We appreciate you. Let me just see if we are having any comments on the chat. Thank you so much. I really needed to hear that. There's another one. Wow, you have just uplifted my spirit. We have another one saying, hang in there. Or they are responding to another one. There, it's all wow, loves and hugs.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Asimponi, for sharing your story. I wanted to find out what were, I don't even know how to phrase the question, but I just want to phrase it. What is it that kept you going at the time that you were going through what you were going through? Or what was your inspiration, or trying to find in a place where there was so much chaos, but you still went and you shined, you still went and said, amidst all of that which I'm going through, I'm going to do this. I was reading the chats as you were asking, what do you think happened? And yes, we went all for the negative things. We never really thought this person was going to come out, at least at the time that you did. So thank you for the story of hope, but I just wanted to find out, what is it that you had your eye on, or what kept you? I'm guessing there was something. And also what, okay, I don't know if I'm confusing you with the last speaker. Did you also study psychology?
Yes, my honors is in psychology and my postgrad in trauma counseling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out as well if your experiences were your decision to study what you studied was influenced by your experiences. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Anza. I give God the glory first for what I am and who I am. And I have to say, I had supportive parents. And what happened when I was 15, my dad decided to take the Lord Jesus to be his savior, and the whole family got born again. So the principles of Christianity are the ones that kept me grounded. And to have the support from family, to have the support from the teachers that I used to have, and to have people who just believed in me regardless of who I was. And truly, the other reality of this is that there were people who were saying, so do not associate with her. And that type of rejection as well. I think what happens with the rejection, sometimes we want to prove ourselves to say, I'm going to do this regardless of what people have said. So yeah, that's the first bit. The second bit is that I wanted to study medicine, but I got into psychology by default. And the reason now I do what I do in terms of being a brain profile practitioner is to say to the young people, it is okay to be who you are and choose careers that are suitable for you. So I guess also that played a role in what I do. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity, because other people, maybe the question will be, when my dad got born again, and I have to share this because it's my family story, we had to close down the tavern. And when the tavern was closed, I went to varsity, even zero, with no cent. But I was grateful that I had my uncle who paid, I think it was 2,500. You can imagine I'm from Springs, KwaThema, and those people put me in a bus, guys. I was 16 years old going to KZN, and I had to find my way on what's happening there. So that's a story for another day. Those are some of the struggles that I had to face. But because I knew exactly where I was going and I had the vision, so that's what has happened. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It's really inspiring that you went from what you went through and then you became what you became today. It does also then remind us that whatever it is that we are currently going through doesn't necessarily mean your background doesn't necessarily determine your future. I was glad also when you touched on energy drainers and stressors and the importance of staying away from a phone. I always sit, and when we go out with my friends, I say, please, let's put phones away, because we've changed into that way. You get to you go out and it's taking pictures of food, it's wanting your life to be out there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with social media, but like you said, what is it that it does for you? Because we're living in an age of depression where we are not, sometimes it's not necessarily what we want that's on the media. it's because we saw it in media and think, okay, my life is not actually going as it should. But you would find that yesterday I was fine with having a Picanto, and today because Sis Mponi has a BMW, I'm not going to sleep. So thank you so much for talking about the importance of rewiring our brain, that we are responsible for, yes, we're going to feel what we feel, our emotions, but we need to sit down, say, what am I feeling and what's causing this? Be responsible for that. So thank you so much for raising that up and sharing your story. Quite inspirational, and all the best.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Okay, so my name is Qiniso, and I'd like to ask Ausumponi Utiena, how would she advise a person who gets very emotional whenever they face something, like they get emotional to a point where they just see no purpose to life, or they don't see themselves worthy of anything, like they look down on themselves, they like completely shut down. I'm very, very inspired by Ausumponi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I'm sorry if it's wrong.
It's Mpone.
Because initially I also want Mpone, thank you. Because initially I also wanted to do to study psychology. I'm probably the youngest one over here. But initially I wanted to do psychology, but unfortunately I couldn't meet the requirements. So I'm studying something else. Yeah, please just tell me how to deal with, being emotionally drained to a point where you just shut down. Thank you.
I think one of the things that I've said is, please do seek for help, because sometimes do find somebody that you trust, even if I know in your institutions, you may have the psychology department or the wellness department where you can get somebody to talk to if you do not have a friend to talk to, because some of these emotions, they come from a place of being wounded. And when those wounds come into play, all of us, we get emotional about things. And it's not that we are dismissing the emotions, but we are saying, let us feel the emotions. But if these emotions keep on reoccurring, get somebody to talk to. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. And it's okay to seek for help. Thank you.
Thank you, Ausumponi. Thank you so much. Very important. It's okay to say you're not okay and to seek help. We have another hand from Irene. Irene, you can unmute.
Hi, hello everyone. Met Gloria. I wish Sis Thembi Nkevalimo, because she said she's African. Ke Motswa Masimo, ke Setswana. Motswa Masimo. And
Motswa Masimo.
Yes. E mmakatsang, batho ba bantsho ha nke ba thola right. They always say, oh no, it's difficult. Re mmitsa Irene. But other races ba ileka. So ke Motswa Masimo. And thanks for a chance. I was worried to wait until Kobufedlo, because everyone that has spoken or touches something konna, and I kept on saying, oh no, I can relate. That's why I decided, let me raise my hand now. Kimang Mpone said something important. Let go of the negative memories. And today I'm asking myself, why am I feeling a bit emotional? Because I do let go of negative memories. But what I'm checking now is, I had to be brutally honest, Gonna, to say, there's just something more. Maybe I've been throwing things at the back of my head, and the back of my head is now throwing back at me. That's why it's really important. What you are doing is really important. This week I've been so happy, Kiam, and said, I am strong. But this session is saying, no. There's still something that is left there that you had to revisit. So I am grateful and thank you for this, because it's helping us. Now, Mpone said, what is it that's stopping us from solving the problems? I know we always say, hi, no, akuna di resources, and people will take that, as an excuse, or, but I know it's something healing. I can also relate, Liko Uspone. I am from Kospotong, and Nabari, let's go not litlakala, because Kingwana Kospotong. But that pushed me as Hankabalitlakala. I used to sell vegetables, Kiliko higher primary school as a girl, Mansibwa Kyakospotong. And that pushed me because no one could really compete with me in classroom because of that. But now, challenges did that. Life kept on throwing and throwing. I went to high school at that time. It's just I had to be there opposite the hostel where there was bombings and all that. We lost the house, and you know what? There was no schooling at all. I had to fight and fight and fight. Kitole that matric certificate was mine. Was my grandmother was a domestic worker, my mother a domestic worker. No, I can't go more, and I will never have a tavern. Banabaka, even now my kids are not exposed to alcohol or anything. We just live more a completely different thing because I made the choices there and said this will not happen. It will not be a generational thing. But now, I tried going to school. It was a struggle. I went back to UNISA 2019 after 25 years because I had nothing. I couldn't go to school. I tried. I went to Midrand campus doing this, trying to get the lectures. It was really a challenge. I had to even drop out at some stage just to go and work and buy a textbook. I bought my textbook. It was already in August. I mean, really, it's nearing the exam, so you can't do anything with that textbook. So life threw that at me. But I ended up working, and I worked for a financial institution. I was there for 10 years. Things were going so well, and we had a business, a service station. I had to leave that because there's also things that we don't understand when it comes to resources, that women are really affected more than men. Maybe I can't give you they'll say give us the numbers and all that. I didn't. It's just from in Tweke Boni. Now we had a service station with my husband. We lost the business after 5 years, and he had something to fall back on. He could go back, go teaching. It's 12 years now that I'm not working. And because I had signed suretyship, I got affected. I couldn't go back to bank. And life will just give you all these things. I look at other people, I look at myself, and the resilience is something very good. But I think Kanako Emwe, you get to Zatilaka Jeko, you're saying, you know what? I have been so strong. I even tell people about my story, but there's just this pain. There's this void, Nyana, and I'm not fulfilled. I listened to the first speaker, Nabuaka, being fulfilled. I had to find myself and say, who am I? Because sort of I got lost more this whole thing, raising kids and all that, and the pain of me being at home for 12 years not working when my husband could go back and work. Now I went back to UNISA after 25 years. Boom, I was pregnant. They said menopause. Menopause was just a baby. And she was born prematurely at 1.185 kg. So it was a struggle. And that was the only time that I got Chelet after so many years to register. So I've been pushing and pushing and pushing. So Kana going with there are just those struggles. And on Monday, I even went to Legal Aid Board and said, I want a reputable NGO. I have 10 years here banking experience. I have, experience here running our own a BP service station. I don't want to just be wasted. Women belong in the kitchen. I refuse to be called a housewife because all the things that I'm doing now, I used to do even when I was working. So what's a housewife? Don't call me that. Now I went and said, find me a place where I can just go and give this, whether it's counseling, whether it's I just went on Monday, and that was me saying, you know what, I have to find myself. I lost myself somewhere, Moj. I have to find myself. But today, are you helping me? I can't go and help other people when they steal this thing, because I had COVID. I was bedridden for 2 months. I lost my sister-in-law. She passed away a week after my stepson had, he committed suicide. So I think I thought I am strong, yes, because Kimoki and I'm fighting. I raise those girls. The other one is Oko Varsity. But now I have to find myself. Now today you helped me to go and just go and finish that thing. I've been dealing with these things, maybe sitting throwing at the back of my head. So fighting and stand up. But there's a challenge. I knock. I sleep even about 2 a.m. trying to find a job. They just see a fossil because I'm 47. They're looking at you 18 to 35. And people will say, but you're not trying. Where must I go? I've tried everything. I've applied everywhere. I'm not giving up. That's why I'm going to look. I'm looking for that NGO where I can do something. But I'm saying at times it's also the resources and also the gender, because my husband does get opportunities. He has been, hey, a facilitator, a this, a that. But people look at you and say, but where have you been? I've been here studying, raising kids. They are now going to university. They're doing this. Can't people see that here's a woman who's doing something? I've sold when we had nothing. Took the last meat that was in the fridge, cooked that and started selling to people. It multiplied. Within a week, we could eat. But it's like, those things are not recognized. So Kanakong, you just feel like, I am worthless. And, thanks for this session. I do talk. So let me not take time. I can talk until you touched somewhere. And thank you for that. Because this journey of finding myself, it don't get cleanly out all this, all the negative memories, all the things that are causing this pain that I do not need. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone here and the organizers for putting together something like this. I'm a student at UNISA in the business management sector, and I'm also running my own NPO. So the challenges that we are facing as women are so much that if we don't have this type of gatherings and listen to other people who have walked the journey, it becomes difficult to actually make it both as a student or whatever you want to achieve. Most of the industries that we are in, I'm in the IT sector as well, it's more male dominated, and it becomes a challenge when you stand up and you know your story, you know what you are talking about. It becomes very difficult. So to those who are leading and pushing, please keep on setting up these kind of platforms. Please, as much as you can. I can do weekly just to listen, because it when you are about to give up on something, you are revived by somebody sharing their own story. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Osmatha. Thank you. Thank you, Ausimponi. We really appreciate you. Releboha hore you made time to be here with us, to share with us your personal stories, and we really appreciate you. And releboha hore you are where you are now, and we have so many people that are looking up to you. So we are hoping that this is not the last time that we see you. To those, I'm seeing a lot here on the chat, and I'm realizing that, yeah, we do need this kind of sessions. However, we also have our sessions that counseling unit is offering, your wellness events. We are going to share the date of the wellness event with everyone who has attended here. We have this event where we are inviting experts also to come and share with you and to come and help, when necessary. So if you are struggling with anything, please do not sit alone in your corner. Reach out to the counseling team. You can send an email. Someone is going to respond to you and you will be helped.
with everyone here, I'm going for the last time before we close, I'm just going to ask that we open the video cameras for the last time. We are about to close the session. I'm going to call the person who's going to close for us, but I'm just requesting that we all open our videos like we did when we started the program. We are not going to sing this time, don't worry. Can we just all open our videos and open our mics? And breathe. We need to breathe. You know, sometimes we take breathing for granted, but at times you do need to actually take time to breathe. And, you know, after this session, I think we all need to just say, so can we just all open our videos and our mics? Thank you so much. Can we all please just open our videos? There is something that
I think there's a limitation on who can open their videos.
Well, mine is blocked.
Yes, it's blocked.
Yeah, mine is blocked too.
Okay. All right. My colleagues are just helping in that regard.
Nobody could
Look at all these beautiful women here. Thank you so much. Can we just all open our mics? There's something that I just want to share with everyone, and I want us all to read it together. This is a poem by Maya Angelou. It's titled "I Rise." With everything that we have had here today, we can go home and, you know, rise above every situation or anything that we are facing. So at the count of 3, I'm going to ask that we all read, all of us, because you are reading this to yourself, not to anyone else. 1, 2, 3. Can we read? Just like
the moon and like sun, with the certainty of time, just like hope springs bright, still out of the heart of history shadow, I rise, up from the heart that ocean pain, I rise, ocean from the outside, that I rise. Into the great terror, still I rise, and daybreak, and why after tear, I rise,
leaving behind I rise into a day bright. I rise.
Thank you so much. I just wanted us to repeat the last 3 that I rise. What you are facing in life, you will rise above it all. So thank you so much. Please do not switch on the videos, just mute your mics, but leave the videos on. I'm going to call on Mepet Letole, who's going to do the vote of thanks for us and close today's session for us. From me, thank you so much. Melitole, the virtual place is yours, me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the presenters who were really telling us about their life experience. And sometimes when you listen to women's stories, you can think that the women are the only head species. It seems as if we need also to go to another gender and assist them to be able to express their feelings. Because when they don't express their feelings, they become dangerous. And when I was listening to those stories from the first one to the last one, what I can say is that the message is we need to come out from our comfort zone. And the other thing is the earth is not flat and it's not even. It's very much uneven because it has got valleys, rivers, it has got mountains, it has got grass, it has got desert and whatever. The same applies to our lives. It will never be at the same level. What is important is what you do after experiencing whatever is bad and whatever is good. I also want to put challenge to everyone who is here to say, in whatever we were saying, it was more of individual. And I was happy that even in one of the presentation, it was mentioned that we have a very close relationship with nature, in which all of us, we don't have that conscious of working close to nature, because where nature is, there's a healing. You cannot heal by having your laptop or your cell phone in front of you, even if it's expensive. And again, I'll also put a challenge to all of us here as women to say we need to be united more than ever now. Because whatever is happening now or whatever is being promoted, it doesn't promote our personality. I was happy that we also talk about resilience. Resilience, yes, you can be resilient as an individual, but the system also needs to promote resilience. And what does that mean? It also means that we can go back to our indigenous knowledge system, whereby Ubuntu was promoted. So whoever, a person whom you meet with, practice Ubuntu. People are experiencing bad things out there. So maybe you can be the last person to show that person a light at the end of the tunnel, that there's still life. I am related to everything that people were saying here. And out of everything, what is important is not to sit at your corner and cry alone. We are here for one another. You cannot live this life alone. As I also suggest that what people were saying here, I wish one day it can be a topic in the church. Because people are going to church, being heard, and come out being heard. But things like this, topic presentation like this, can make us better people. I think 2 hours is too. I think we need to go out for 2 days, not to expect the university to pay, but to pay for ourselves and go out there, and also sponsor other people who cannot pay, who are saying that they are not working, and go there and discuss issues. And again, the other advice which I can give it to you, because it's not, there's no world for women only. We have got boys, we have got men with us. Please, when you are with them, promote Ubuntu. It's very important. Raise your son as somebody's husband. Don't raise your son as your own son, but as somebody's husband. And whatever you do, what we need to know, peace is not within a marriage, but it's within you yourself. And I also want to ask God to be with us and provide us with resilience, in which it doesn't benefit one person, but it benefits all of us as human species. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, Meli Letole. We have come to the end of our program. Until next time, Amandla Bomme.